you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, our latest things that makes official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show. 2,400 plus episodes and over 16 years, going on 17 to 2,500. We just bring you the most amazing minds, stories, and everything else. And all we ask of you is the simple, free activity that you can do on top of listening to the show is go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Refer your family, friends, and relatives. Just call them all up, or send them mail, like long-term mail, or what do they call it, snail mail, and send them a mail. Write them a letter and say you should subscribe to the Chris Voss Show. Go to LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Facebook.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss on the TikTok. Opinions expressed by guests on the podcast are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the Chris Voss Show. Some guests of the show may be advertising on the podcast, but it is not an endorsement or review of any kind. Anyway, we got an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking about his really cool insights. He's got some amazing stories from the Outback, and that's not the place where you get your steaks. We're talking about the real Australia, where they don't actually have Outback restaurants, I hear. Anyway, we're going to get into it with him and his book, and we're going to find out. So that's what the new term of this show is about. Fuck around and find out. That's what we do. We find out what's going on. Today, we have on the show, I don't know, I'm just wandering through the ramble here. It's anonymous or it's random every time. Paul Rushworth-Brown joins us on the show. His book is out, Outback Odyssey, it is called, and June 20th, 2025, we're going to get into it with him. He's a multi-book author, and we'll get into some of the other works that he's taken and done. Paul's novels are authentic and gritty, with twists and turns the reader won't see coming. He paints a realistic image of how peasants would have lived in the 16th and 17th centuries, or after 2026, evidently, the way we're going. However, that is the only backdrop to a suspenseful and mysterious story with romantic tones. His novel, Red Winter Journey, has been nominated for the NSW Premier's Literary Awards, and his new novel, Dream of Courage, has been longlisted for the Historical Fiction Club's Book of the Year and will be released in November. He's been a guest on ABC, BBC, America Tonight with Kate Delaney, and regularly features on the Witty Writers Show in the U.S. The U.S. Times have said modern writers usually don't know what it's like to live in the past, but Rushworth-Brown does this with a great skill in his accomplished, atmospheric, and thoughtful novels. Welcome to the show. How are you, Paul?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. We certainly appreciate it. Give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs in the sky?
Just Paul Rushworth-Brown.com.
And give us an overview of what's inside your new book.
Okay, so there's it's actually a novel of two layers. The top layer, if you just read it at face value, it's primarily about a young Yorkshire man that emigrates to Australia in the 50s, and he goes over there as a 10-pound pom, and that was in an era where Australia was trying to keep Australia British.
Oh, okay.
And they were basically inviting as many Brits over to Australia to basically keep Australia British. And he spent 12 years in an orphanage. It's loosely based on my father. And when he comes over there, the novel is about him belonging because he was in an orphanage. He doesn't really feel like he belongs. So when he comes over to Australia, he goes through all the rigmarole of living in the hostel and being tested for tuberculosis and all that type of thing. They eventually send him out to Outback, Victoria, to work on a sheep farm. And so that's the start of it. And then there's a bit of a romance in there. He falls in love with Amanda Olsen, And Amanda Olsen was a great granddaughter of Martin Wiberg. So the book is sort of like tied up with looking for treasure and that type of thing. But underneath, it's about an Aboriginal mob and an elder taking him under their wing and basically teaching him the ways of the bush, how to survive in the bush. But eventually, he becomes part of their mob, or what you'd know as their tribe.
Okay. You guys call it a mob down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your toilets do flush the wrong way, so that's kind of your seasons are wrong too. They're the opposite of ours, and America's the only right seasons. No, I'm just kidding. Sounds like the asshole American, don't I? Which is probably what I am. But no, I love Australia. You guys have the Tim Tams down there. Oh my God! Don't even get started. Jesus, Tim Tams. But the only thing I know Australians is that Vegemite stuff. That stuff is nasty.
You know why it's nasty? It's because usually most people put too much on.
That's easy.
If you just give it a light scrape, it's beautiful.
Yeah, just a light scrape and lots of butter is what they always tell me.
Yeah.
And I always tell if I do the same thing with my dog poo in the backyard to a piece of bread, it'll taste great because it's covered in butter. So I think you guys are playing some hokey math over there, but that's okay. We love Australians. So it sounds like it's a novel. But it's part kind of some of your history, and you have quite the history on it. Now this is your third book. I can see two other ones. I think on fourth book. And is this the first book in a series or a standalone from the other ones?
Well, the first three were basically English historical fiction, romance, adventure, that type of thing, and that was a trilogy. This one here, on my fourth novel, I wanted to write about Australiana. So there's a very, very heavy First Nations cultural insight to it. And so I wanted to write about Australiana, but basically at the end of the book, I was on booked up with Beth a while back, and she asked me, she said, are you going to write another one? Because on the back page it says to be continued, but it really depends on I suppose how the public react to this one.
Yeah, if you guys like it, buy it up. There might be more, or not. So buy it now. That's a sophisticated sales process that I use right there. Buy it now, or else I'll come over there anyway. Pretty amazing work you've done. So you've written 4 books. Do you want to get a plug in for the other 3 and tell us what they're about?
I think you did it before when you introduced me. But my first novel was Skullduggery, which takes place in 1590 and in Yorkshire. Second one was Red Winter Journey, which is Skullduggery was a bit of a whodunit. Red Winter Journey is sort of like a survival coming of age story about a young Yorkshireman who's kidnapped by the Parliamentary Army in the English Civil War. Oh, wow. And then the third one is Dream of Courage, which is set in the early 1700s, and same type of thing: romance, mystery, adventure. And around the time there, it was a pretty crazy time in England. So there's pirates and there's bushwhackers and all sorts of things.
Pirates and bushwhackers, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! So talk to us about what brought you to writing. How did you become a writer? When did you start writing? When did you kind of have a click where you're like, I think I'm a writer?
Yeah, it's interesting. I suppose I was heavily involved as a national football coach, and obviously played professional football as a young adult. And when my coaching career, when I retired from my coaching career, I suppose I thought, I'm going to try and write it. Well, first of all, I did a family history. Mm-hmm. So I spent 6 months writing a family history and traced my furthest away ancestor back to 1590 in Yorkshire, in a place called Howarth, which you may know from, the Bronte sisters grew up there. Wuthering Heights and that type of thing. And then so skullduggery was sort of like, I sort of like thought to myself, this Thomas Rushworth, who's my great grandfather times 10, how did he live? And I suppose that was the basis of skullduggery. And then then Red Winter Journey, and then Dream of Courage were basically following those generational marks from 1590 up to the 1700s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you got quite the storied history of being in the Outback and doing different things. When did you finally, the light went on and you were like, I think I can write books?
Probably the second one, Red Winter Journey, because it was nominated for the New South Wales Premier's Literature Award. So I thought to myself, I must be doing something right.
And your first or second book after?
Yeah. And then, and then I just kept going. And then probably Outback Odyssey, I'm probably most proud of.
Your latest book, accumulation of 4 books. What do you find is happening by your 4th book? A lot of people write one book and never get started beyond that. What's your advice on writing multiple books and maybe getting better over time, I guess, technically?
Yeah, well, if I compared Outback Odyssey to Skullduggery, you can definitely sort of like, the character arcs are more developed. And the stories are, I suppose, just simple things like for instance, using memory or using internal thoughts of a character to bring out that type of thing. That's probably the biggest thing that I've learned as an author.
How did you get better at? Did you take any classes for writing? Did you ever study writing or character development or anything like that?
No. I'm a teacher, so I suppose as a teacher, you have to learn how to entertain.
Yeah, definitely. So, depends on the kids too. If they're those really young ones, you got to keep them busy.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a high school teacher, so
okay,
yeah.
So you had some interesting stories of the Outback, and I imagine did some of those stories, spin into your into the book. You were talking, I think, one point in the pre-show, you were talking about some of your adventures hitchhiking across Australia, which doesn't sound safe to me in any way, shape, or form, from what I know about.
No, it was. I was only 19 at the time.
Oh yeah, that makes.
So
it's better. You're eating better. I think the animals are eating better at 19. They got fresh meat.
Yeah, but I worked as a navvy. So a navvy.
No, what's a navvy?
A sort of like just a worker on the railways. So what we used to do out in the Outback is rip up a train track and replace it with new track. So I did that for quite a while. And just to earn some money to finish my trips around Australia.
What's that experience like? Tell us what it's like.
The trip around Australia?
No, the working in that sort of field. I mean, you're on the heat, I imagine the open. There's not a lot of cover out in the Outback.
Yeah, you have to look. It gives you a real sort of like, I suppose, feeling about the land. And about it's more of a feeling rather than a thing, and just like doing that job. We'd have to start at sort of like 4 o'clock in the morning because obviously it'd get too hot.
Yeah, it gets hot.
Yeah, and then get home at sort of like sort of like 5 in the afternoon, and it was too hot to sort of like have a shower because. In the portable showers and that we had, the pipes are just underneath the ground, and the sun obviously all day on them would just bake them. So you turn on the cold water and it'd be bubbling.
Oh man, that's what I like, boiling hot water for nice morning warm up.
And then just at things like if we had a break or what we call smoko, you'd lift a sandwich up to your mouth, and before you even put it in the mouth, there'd be 50 flies on the top of the bread. Yeah.
So how do you combat that? You just eat the flies, or what do you do?
Oh, look, you'd eat or snort a couple of flies up every day.
Oh, wow. That's what I like. I mean, some people do cocaine. I go with flies. Shit. Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's probably some protein there. A little
Yeah.
extra protein never hurt anybody, I hear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it was also like, this type of thing, because you'd have to loosen the stakes that held the track to the or put the new stakes in.
Yeah.
To sort of like hold the rails down to the track.
Mhm.
And so like doing that all day, when you first start, you come home and your hands are basically bloody.
Jesus. Yeah, that sounds like fun work. It sounds like the kind of work you do when you've done some prison time and they take you out there and they're like, we got some stuff for you to do. You're on a chain, so chain gang stuff. But yeah, you got to you gotta love it. So how long did you do that for, and what do you feel it did for you? Did it give you some character building?
I did it for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then I continued on my trip around Australia.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up to Darwin, and I actually called the boss at Queensland Railways and said, "Look, do you need any more men?" And he said yes. And I was about to travel back down to Hewenden,
Mm-hmm.
because what they do is they sort of like lift this camp up and they move it further sort of like up the track and then set up again. And so we were at a place called Hewenden. And anyway, I ended up staying in Darwin, and eventually went over to Bali and sort of like traveled through Asia.
Got some good traveling stories there. Stuff to do when you're young, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, get to see the world, kind of see what's going on around it, and all that good stuff. So, I think there was a couple other journeys you had or stories you had to tell. I don't know if you want to throw them out here while we're.
Oh yeah. When I got to Alice Springs, there's a dry riverbed in there, and once a year they have sort of like they make boats, makeshift boats out of tinnies or empty cans of beer, and they have a race. But anyway, on this particular time, I think that holiday was sort of like around that particular time. Anyway, I got to Alice Springs quite late and didn't have anywhere to stay. So I actually had a one-man tent with me. So I set it up in the Todd River, in this dry riverbank. Anyway, it was quite late at night, and the halfway through the night, the tent got knocked down with me inside by a group of young men, I assume.
Uh-huh.
And the
hoodlums. What do they call those type of people down your way?
Australians.
Australians. Well, I mean, the hoodlums are bad.
Yeah, no. Look, to be honest with you, I only found this out later on, but in certain parts of Australia, or back then, not so much now, certain areas of towns and cities are reserved for First Nations people.
Oh, okay.
And I think the Todd River was back then. I don't know if it still is now, but back then the Todd River was mainly kept for First Nations people.
So, and explain what First Nations people are, to give us a definition.
First Nations are Aboriginal people that basically own Australia and have been living here for 60,000 years.
Oh, wow.
And when Captain Cook, well, some people call it an invasion. Other people call it settling. But First Nations people basically own the land.
Wow.
And I suppose that's one of the allegorical parts of the novel that come out.
Oh, really? So you include some of that sort of story things in the novel? Oh,
yeah, it's very, and fully researched. I used sort of like official databases and historical records that are in the public domain for the research. But it's not I don't preach. I just tell a story. And in this novel, the First Nations people are actually the protagonists, and the white fellas, as you call them, they're actually the antagonists.
Do Do you feel like you have, based on your father's journey, do you feel like you have a connection to those folks?
To First Nations people?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, when I was in Darwin, I actually had an Aboriginal friend, and we went to the Vic Hotel, and they refused. This is back in the 80s, and they refused to serve him. So me being me, I sort of like stood up for him. Anyway, to make the long story short, both of us got thrown down the stairs.
Oh,
and kicked out.
That sounds like some scallywagging going on there. I don't know. Is scallywagging the right word? I'm just making up stuff.
Scallywag.
Scallywag. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like some definitely adventures. And that sounds like something I would expect from the Outback, because I've seen that movie Crocodile Dundee, and there's some scallywagging going on.
Crocodile Dundee was, look, it was definitely a funny movie, but it was more of a Australians sort of like watched it and loved it with Paul Hogan, because like he's sort of like iconic in Australia, but really the movie Crocodile Dundee. It was a comic. Yeah. Just
fun and games and fun and all that stuff. So yeah, you gotta love it. So let's see. What else should we know about you and your work? Anything coming up on the any future books or anything coming up that people should know about?
Oh yeah, well, I've actually got a meeting with Carl Svensson on Wednesday. I've got interviews all this week, and I've got a meeting with Carl Svensson, who's a Swedish director. He's in IMD, and he's reviewing the screenplay, which I also wrote for a possible movie or film adaptation. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Possible movie. Movie would be great. It's got a cool cover on it. Do you have any movie stars that maybe you think would be good for it?
Oh, well, that's a difficult one. I haven't even thought about that, but maybe Russell Crowe.
Ah, Russell Crowe. He's popular down there in Australia since he comes from there, right?
Yeah. But the only thing is, I think he might be a bit old
and fat,
to play Jimmy, because when Jimmy gets to Australia, he's only 19.
Well, yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of another. Oh, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman. I mean, I don't know if he can play 19, but with the right. I don't know. They have all these timeline things, like Scorsese did that movie with the Irishman. Yeah, took all the old guys back in time and made them look young. Kind of really didn't work, but you can try.
And then maybe Margot Robbie is.
Margot Robbie's hot.
Is Amanda Olsen?
Yeah, I'd go see that movie. Yeah. She's Margot Robbie. She's a hot.
Yeah,
so she plays a lot of great movies. Good actress too, as well.
Yeah.
So that would be fun for you. So what is for those out there might be aspiring writers in our audience, what is the habit you use when you write? Do you try and write every day? Do you have sort of ritual? No
rituals. I don't even plan it.
Okay.
With my novels, when I start writing, it's almost as if sort of like a movie is taking place in front of my eyes.
Really?
Yeah. And I just start writing, and everything seems to come. And because I don't plan it, most of my novels have sort of like quite a few twists and turns. Even Outback Odyssey, and I mean Outback Odyssey, you never even pick the ending. But and the fact that because I don't plan anything, if I sort of like get halfway through, or even sort of like towards the end, I can actually go back earlier in the novel and change something so that there's a twist and a turn, sort of like later in the novel.
Mm-hmm.
And so very, very interesting way to write. And just that. I suppose I'm lucky that I can do that, because a lot of people can't.
A lot of people can, man. That's pretty good though. That you can pull it off and stuff. Yeah. Most definitely. Well, as we go out, give people the final pitch out to order up your books, where to find you on .coms, websites, all that good stuff.
Okay, so I've got a website, paulrushworth-brown.com. Outback Odyssey is now freely available in all major book distributors, both ebooks and physical copies. And I'm in the process of actually working with Neil Lithgow, who's a radio personality over here, and getting the Audible book done.
Ah, that's got to be fun. Get the Audible done and all that good stuff. So let's see. Do we get the .coms in there?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good then. Well, thank you very much for coming to the show. We really appreciate it. It's been fun to have you on, and what amazing stories. And of course, that probably makes for a more enriching experience in the book. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one of the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. Order up his book wherever fine books are sold, folks, so you can take advantage of all the wonderful stories and learnings and all that stuff in there. It's Outback Odyssey, June 20th, 2025. Fresh off the shelves. You can grab it now and be the first in your block to read it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com and all that stuff. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time. And that should have us out. Great.